Hello, everyone, and welcome to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and this is the review of the body horror comedy Slanted, which stars Shirley Chen and Mckenna Grace. And in this film, a Chinese American high schooler undergoes ethnic modification surgery to appear white in hopes to become prom queen. After the surgery, her life is upended by her new appearance. This film is directed by Amy Wang, and I knew nothing about this movie. I caught this at a seen unseen, the mystery movies. You can go see at AMC or whatever. And I bought the ticket in hopes of seeing something else. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I guessed wrong on what the movie was, obviously, and I got this. And immediately I was a little disappointed, but I had to hurry up and kind of just cool my temper and and just give myself over to this film because number one, I didn't know what this movie was about. I had seen like a promotion or a ad on social media or something about it, but no trailer or anything like this. So I went into this completely blind, didn't know what it was about, didn't know if it was a comedy or horror or a teenage drama or whatever. I didn't know anything about it. And I left out of the theater, still don't know if it's a, a body horror, a comedy, I don't know. This movie was all over the place. And look, I wanted to like this movie because once the story started to unfold and I knew what the heck I was watching, I was like, okay, I'm starting to pick up on it, starting to enjoy what we're being presented with. And then the messaging behind it was very poignant. Now, let me just say like this, and let me give you the whole layout of my viewing experience for this movie. I'm sitting in a theater with, I'm going to say it was about, I didn't count, but if I had to guess, it was about 35 to 40 people sitting in that theater. And out of the 35 to 40 people, I would say 3 of them were black. No. I passed another couple. So 5 of them were black. Me being the 5th. The other 2 were couples. So the rest of this audience were white. And so to watch this movie, and for the first 35 minutes of it was very, very awkward. And honestly, I kind of took myself out of the movie because I was sitting there wondering. I wasn't awkward or uncomfortable by the subject matter, like, oh my God, are they going to be looking at me crazy? Well, no, because this is dealing with Chinese Americans and their struggles, dealing with racism, in systematic racism or systemic racism, I should say. And so this was their thing, and I respect it to the fullest. But it was awkward because I was like, I wonder what they're feeling right now. That's what I was sitting there questioning. How are they feeling, or how many people are going to start walking out of this movie? Well, nobody walked out the movie. I'll give them all that credit because this was an older white crowd. Now, if it was a younger white crowd, I would say in their mid to late 20s or something like that, I would expect them to stick around. But this was an older white crowd. I'm talking 50s and 60-year-olds, you know? And so I did not expect them to stick around, but they did. And actually, I heard a couple of chuckles from them throughout the film. Now, I could have been mistaken. Like I said, the theater was dark. The chuckles could have came from the black couples, because the black couple that was sitting in front of me, they found humor in everything. Me personally, the movie wasn't funny. The jokes that were in here, the comedy that was here, it didn't land. But I do recognize that there were comedic moments in the movie. But they found it funny. Now, I did find some things funny, but it wasn't the comedic portions of the film. The parts that I was laughing at were the moments that I know were cringy for a vast majority of the audience in my particular viewing. And so it just made me laugh knowing that they had to be subjected to this film. And now, with that being said, the movie doesn't promote hate towards any racial group. It's not that type of film. This isn't a movie to I don't know, blow the whistle or sound the trumpets for Chinese Americans to rise up and fight against whitey. No, it's not that. It's not that movie. It is it. The white people weren't bad in this movie. They're not the villains. There were no villains in this movie. So let me just make that clear. But it was more of a system thing. It was more of the system being the villain. The way society views others. You know, people outside of the white race or the Caucasian race, and how they're looked down upon, and how they have to look a certain way or act a certain way. And it's really showcased that. And it wasn't anything subtle about this movie. Nothing subtle at all. It was there. Nothing subliminal. It was right there. If you didn't get it, you just didn't want to get it. But this was, it was put out there for you. And it's the truth. This is what people go through. And it's not just Chinese Americans. It's every race. Every race feels that way. I felt that way. Everybody I know has felt that way, trying to fit in. How can we fit in? You know, it's the, if you can't beat them, join them thing. And that's basically the tagline for this movie. If you can't beat them, be them. And that was the whole fight. You know, do you give up your culture, give up your history, give up your blood for acceptance in this country? And it's such a timely movie for that reason. Now, as much as I didn't enjoy the movie as much as I would have hoped, I do appreciate this movie for what it told, because this was a very bold movie, a very bold movie. And you can't do anything but have respect for Amy Wang, who wrote and directed this film, who I would imagine is something that she experienced or something that she was feeling. And this was her way of getting that out. Is kind of therapeutic for her to get it out through this film. But it does focus on the Chinese American aspect of it, but it does touch in on the blacks. It touches in on the Latinos, you know, who go through this procedure, because it's this procedure that turns you white. It turns you white. And the whole joke of it all, I guess this was the comedy element of it, was the fact that if you ain't white, you ain't right. And life is so much better for those who went through this surgery, this experimental surgery. Life is so much better. And we have family members that didn't have the process. We don't speak to them. It's something like a cult. It's something like Scientology. You know, when you join Scientology and you have a family member that doesn't join with you, you don't associate with that person. It can be your mother, your wife, even your children. If they don't associate with Scientology, you are not allowed to talk to them. And it's not just Scientology; it's all cults. You are not to associate with them, and that's basically what this movie was doing. And man, I appreciate it for that. The standouts in this film were the performances. I thought the performances in this movie were really good. Uh, Shirley Chang or Shirley Chen, she's the lead in this film, and this was my first exposure to her. I haven't seen her in anything else, at least nothing that comes straight to mind. But I thought she did a really good job as this character because she had the tall task of basically setting up this character, setting up her struggle and the internal fight that she's having within to try to fit in, and how do she fit in, and making this life altering decision to go through with this surgery that will change her from Chinese to white just so she can fit in. And the pain that she, they really had to flush that out. And that's why the first half of this movie was kind of slow. It was very slow building up to that, because I would say 15 minutes in, you pretty much felt the struggle that she was going through. So you could have wrapped it up then, but the movie takes an extra 15 minutes to continue to flush that out. And I think the movie suffered a little bit because it started to lose you, because it was starting to feel repetitious. And so, uh, but as far as her performance is concerned, I thought it was great. Mckenna Grace, who we all know from the recent Ghostbuster films, and she was just in Scream 7. God bless her. But she is a very talented young actress, and once she got on screen, once her character got on screen, the movie really started to ramp up. Really followed her because she really showcased the other half of our main character, the the goal that our main character had reached here of becoming a white girl, becoming somebody that fits in, that's popular now, that can be considered to be voted prom queen and all this other stuff. And Mckenna Grace did such an excellent job. You can actually believe that there was a Chinese American underneath her, underneath that face, especially in the scenes with her parents. And I don't know her parents' names, the actors' names who played the parents, but they were the best part of this movie. As much as I enjoyed Shirley Chen and Mckenna Grace, the biggest stars to come out of this movie were the two actors who played the parents of this young lady, the Chinese immigrants who came to this country for a better life, but still holding on to their Chinese culture, still hanging on to speaking Mandarin, even though they've been in this country for 10 years. They still speak Mandarin. They still hold on to that. But the whole goal in their life is for their daughter to be American, to be her version of an American, internally, not so much externally. And that was the message. It's not about how you look on the outside, it's who you are on the inside. Are you an American on the inside? Because America is a melting pot, man. It's a gumbo pot. It's full of everything. But even though there is a large contingent of people who feel that Americans should look one way, at the end of the day, what makes America great and I hate using that term, but what makes America great is the fact that you have every culture represented here, but at, at the end of the day, they're all American. I don't care if you're black, white, Asian, Latino, Irish, uh, Australian, whatever. You are, if you have citizenship here, you are an American. And so that's basically the message you get towards the end of this film. Like, like I said, the movie didn't, as far as the execution of the film, it wasn't the best. You could tell this was an indie film through and through, but the message that they were trying to get through, I think, was a very strong message, and it was strong enough to keep this movie in a positive grade scale. Slanted gets a letter grade of a C. Yeah, I think it's decent, and I think it's worthy for everybody to watch, because if you look past, the fantastical surgery and all this other foolishness that our main character goes through, you take that away, it's real. It's real that people go through this. It's real in the black culture. I don't know if it's referred to this in any other community, but I know in the black community, it's referred to as switching, code switching, when you speak a certain way, you speak differently than you would at your house with your family, with your boys, with your girls, or whoever. Black people have a way of talking. They're just like every other ethnic group has their own unique way of talking around each other. But when it comes to the black community, we talk a certain way. But when we're on a job somewhere, there's a lot of code switching. I used to tease my wife about that for years. When we first got married, and she worked on a job, and I would call, to talk to her on her job, and she'll answer the phone, and I would call her extension to get her office or whatever, and she'll pick up the phone, but I was like, can I speak to my, her name, and and she was like, husband, is me. I'm like, oh, I didn't know, because when you answered the phone, I thought it was a white woman. I did not know that was you. But you have to, it's that pressure to talk a certain way, act a certain way, whatever the case may be. It's not bad in certain settings. On your job, yes, you want to sound professional and proper and whatnot. It's not so much to put on an act like you're being white. You're just trying to be professional. Because trust me, especially living in the South, especially living in Louisiana, that is not mutually exclusive to black folks. They have white folks that talk more ignorant than black folks. There is some dialect down here that'll make you question, are you really white? So that is not mutually exclusive to black folks in any other culture. They got the ignorance. It it is not discriminatory. Ignorance runs through every stretch of the world. But anyways, I'm going on too long with it. I thought the movie was fine. It wasn't the best thing in the world, and a lot of that is because I really wasn't expecting to watch this movie, you know. But now that I have, I'm not mad at it. I thought it was decent. Slanted gets a letter grade of a C. I would like to know, what did you think of Slanted, or are you planning to check it out? I recommend it. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, don't forget about YouTube. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening. to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this review of Slanted. I want you all to know that I love you, continue to love everyone, and until we speak again, you all be blessed.